clicked on this video, it's probably because you have an inner calling, an inner desire to really find your purpose and make your mark on the world. How would it feel to really make a difference? Today we're going to discuss 3 ways that you can find your purpose, find your mission, or find your calling, however you want to say it. Years ago, I was working for a corporation as the marketing director, and I came across a quote from Russell Simmons, and it said, "Find a need and fill it." And that quote absolutely blew my mind because back then, I didn't realize it, but in my spirit, I was looking for my purpose. And I was working in marketing, and when I read that, find a need and fill it, it absolutely resonated with me. So what I did is I ran to the computer, I typed out that specific quote, and I made a poster out of it, and I put it up on my cubicle. And I've kept that all these years, the same poster. It's been about 10 years now. And what it said to me was that finding our purpose is directly in line with a need that there is in the world that only you can provide. There's something about you and the way we are wired, the way God made us internally, that no one else can fill that specific need in the way you can. So tip number 1, find a need and fill it. Thank you, Russell Simmons. Two, find your natural gifting. There are certain things that you've come across without even knowing, because you're not conscious of what is happening. There's certain things that you've come across over and over and over again in your profession where you just know that you're really, really good at it, just genuinely good at it. Maybe you have education in that field and maybe you don't, but it's just a natural gifting that you have. What comes really naturally to you, something that you could do with pretty much your eyes closed. And when you partner that with finding the need in the world, that's the sweet spot where you find your purpose. So what are you naturally good at? It may take some time to just sit down and meditate and clear your head and just write out a couple of experiences that you've been through in your jobs. And so what is your natural gifting? Finding that natural gifting, that's the start. That's not the entirety of it. There's a lot more that goes into it, but that is the start of finding what your purpose could be. Tip number 2, find your natural gifting. Tip number 3, prayer. If you believe in a higher power, then you already know that there's a spirit that is in full control of everything. He's in control of every need that is on this planet, and he's also in control of your exact wiring and your exact gifting, and the two can be married. But how do we get enough courage to actually step out, really face ourselves and how we're wired, and find what that need is that God would want us to do here on earth? Why are we here? So through prayer, we can ask him, why did you create me personally? What am I here for? And what can I do for you?
Hello and welcome to Give and Take, the positives in life. And you just got an informal introduction to my next guest. And so now you'll get a formal introduction. So welcome.
Thank you so much.
And today's topic, by the way, is
The Ambitious Soul.
The Ambitious Soul. So welcome. If you'd like to
Thank you.
introduce yourself.
Thank you. I'm Gloria Cunningham, business and career coach and CEO of a coaching agency based out of White Plains called The Ambitious Soul.
Lovely. So I wanted to start with that video because it was very, very basic with the 3 tips, and it was very, I personally liked it because there were some very core ideas on how to actually, you know, figure out what your purpose is in life. So there were 3 tips that were succinct and they followed each other. So let's talk about those tips in the video.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the first one was, as I mentioned, I came across a quote in 2006, and it was find a need and fill it.
Right.
And I thought that was very profound, because we all want to feel important. We all want to feel like we matter,
Right.
and like we make a difference. So when I read that, I said, okay, well, I didn't know what to do with it at that time, but I knew I had to print it out and I had to look at it every day.
Right.
And now it's full of coffee stains and things, but
That's okay.
but
It was worn.
but it was the beginning of me figuring out what I wanted to do with the rest of my life.
Mm-hmm. And so, and tip number 2?
Tip number 2 is finding our natural gifting. So that took a while for me to figure out what that was. And it's not because the information wasn't right in front of me. It's because we function so unconsciously that we could be really good at something and we take it for granted. So it took some time for me to figure that one out. And I think it takes everyone a little bit of time to figure that out. But what I think the key is to actually consciously say, I want to figure it out. And then you start from there.
I like that you said unconscious and conscious. Because a lot of the time we are walking around unconsciously. We don't realize it.
Most of
but
the
when
time.
we don't know what our purpose is, then that is unconscious. And so it's so nice when you find that your part that we have to play in this world, and then you play it. And so then you become conscious and aware of what that is. So that, like, again, I really did like those tips. So we're going to go into tip number 3 now.
Tip number 3 was prayer. I feel that because so much in our brain is unconscious, even the things that are right in front of us, we don't realize. Because of that, I think prayer allows us to quiet the mind long enough to start asking some deeper questions.
Right.
So the hard thing is really separating that time for some real prayer. And when I say prayer, I'm not talking about thank you for the food and good night. I'm talking about something where you're really starting to have some intimate conversations, not only with God, but with yourself.
That's right.
And with the universe. So I think it
Lovely.
starts with those 3 tips.
Excellent. So another way would be to meditate or to have a
Absolutely.
conversation to
Absolutely.
develop that relationship with the divine, God.
Exactly.
Whatever
you like to call it.
Exactly.
Yes.
And so that's very, very good tips. And where could they find those tips, Gloria?
Well, those tips are on my website. There's a link to my YouTube channel, directly to the YouTube channel. And I think it lands directly on that particular video.
Right. And the the website address is
theambitioussoul.com.
Lovely, theambitioussoul.com. So what made you come up with that name, theambitioussoul.com?
Oh, well, that was a hard one.
Oh, I'd like to hear that.
I opened up my first company in 2008, and it was called First Stone Marketing.
Right.
And I mainly focused on helping small businesses to market themselves in a larger way. And then after that, a few years later, I learned some things and I developed from there. And I rebranded myself in 2012. And I was speaking with my husband. I said, I don't know what to call it. I don't know if I should just call it Gloria Cunningham Consulting. Or I had also graduated from life coaching, got my certification in life coach.
Right.
So we thought about it, and a friend of mine who is an MBA in marketing, she said, why don't you just ask people what they think of you?
Right.
So I sent it out to a few of my connections, and everyone came back with that I'm ambitious. I said, well, that's nice, but it's not really just about me, it's about my clients too. But it's about them finding what their purpose is and developing that. So that's a calling within the soul.
Right.
And the ambition is the desire to do the work so that you can meet what your soul wants to do.
Right.
So it takes discipline, it takes the audacity to step out, and that's ambition.
Lovely. Very nice. So it was a very nice way that you came about. It didn't just like pop up.
No, it
like
took a long
you really
time.
carefully sort of said, I need to do this, I need to do it right, and so what's the best way for me to do this? So that was very lovely. And so you had mentioned your husband, so that's also your business partner?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
all right. So you want to talk about that partnership and how that works?
Sure. Well, when we met, we kind of clicked on a very intelligent level. And
There's a
so,
picture. Right.
yes, that's my
Right.
husband.
Yes. Lovely.
And so, you know, as I've developed this over the years, he's been my go-to
Lovely.
to jump ideas off of,
nice to have that.
any critical business situations. He pretty much gets me out of them.
Excellent. That's good.
And yeah, he's helped with the financing of it and the management of the money and all of that. So
Right. And that's good to have that support.
yes,
Because sometimes people go into a profession or whatever career, whatever, and then sometimes a spouse or whatever, friend, family members don't support it.
that's
And
true.
so then that energy is not good in regards to it developing and growing.
Yes,
So it's
yes.
good to
I'm
have,
very
you
grateful
know.
that I have his full support.
Excellent, excellent. So what are some of the things that you do in your business, Gloria?
Well, the bigger part of my business is helping startups and entrepreneurs to
Lovely.
develop their business. So all the way down from figuring out what they want to do. So that
Okay.
may take a little coaching, through the development of their brand,
Okay.
the development of their business plan, their website, execution of their marketing plan,
Right.
and positioning them in their particular market and what that looks like for them. So we go through all of that. And then continuing to grow the business, we also assist with some of the legal questions that can come up. We have some connections with bookkeepers, accounting, and that sort of thing.
Lovely.
Investments for business. So it's very focused on helping people who have found their purpose and are
Right.
developing it into a business. I also help individuals that are trying to grow in their careers. So we do the career coaching as well.
I remember you told me that sometimes you could be very sort of like, it has to be this way, you know, in order for your client to really get it, that you can be sort of firm with them sometimes.
Yes.
So I'd like you to talk about how firm you
Okay.
can be with them so they're aware ahead of time. It's good because, you know, there's a sweetness, but then there also have to be that firmness.
Absolutely. It really depends on how the relationship develops, and it depends on the person's personality.
Okay.
I'm very intuitive, so I can kind of feel how far I can push someone.
Sure.
And then
That's
also the
good.
coaching comes into place with that, where I'm not just going to be a yes person. I'm going to pull you out of your comfort zone.
Right.
And that can be a little interesting, but they always feel that I'm doing it out of love.
Lovely.
And, you know, and all my clients, they always end up being my friends,
That's
personal
good.
friends, because
That's wonderful.
we grow a very good relationship. So
Very
I
good.
do push them, but it's part of the coaching that I don't only do the consulting part, I do the coaching. So I, you know, to pull the best out of them.
Right.
And sometimes, you know, pulling the best out of someone can be a little interesting, but they're always happy with me at the end. So
That's good.
that's good.
That's wonderful. So you also do like workshops and stuff. I think we have a picture of you in a workshop, doing a
Yes.
workshop. There you go. And so
Yes.
what would a typical workshop look like in regards to, you know, how would you do that for a business? How would you plan it and those kinds of things?
I haven't started going out on my own. Most of the places I've gone to, I've been invited. So this
that's
one was
good.
a business group out in Long Island,
Okay.
and they came to. They asked me if I could do a presentation on social media implementation for businesses. So how they can leverage the social media tools. What is the best social media platform for their particular business? How to engage the people that they contact through social media, how to promote yourself, e-blasts, how to connect it all to your website, and how to service people better.
So some
through those
sound
platforms.
advice.
Right. So
Excellent.
it was about a 2-hour workshop, and I tried to make them fun. So we laughed a lot.
Okay, good.
Yeah, we told jokes, but we
Lovely.
learned a lot too.
So whereabouts is your office? You have an office in White Plains, if you want to share the address and the phone number of your business.
Sure. The office is on 75 South Broadway. It's across from the
It's a
Pavilion.
great location.
It was, thank you. In downtown White Plains.
Right.
And it's across from the Pavilion in White Plains.
Right.
And the phone number, 914-230-0725.
Right. So how long have you been in business, Gloria?
Since 2008.
Excellent. That's very good. because especially when there's those rocky times when you're in a business and according to what's happening out there in this big global world, it can shake you in any direction. So it's good to know that you've been doing quite well since 2008. And I came to your office, and it was, and we sort of spoke, and we connected very well. And
yes, we did.
And I think that you would be a wonderful person to have as a coach, or to come and do something, because you're just your lightness, your sweetness, and you're just listening. You listen very well, and it's very important to have those skills. And so I would say, go ahead, give Gloria a call.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
No problem. Also, I want you to talk about your spiritual life, because that's really our foundation in regards to where we fall in life. So I really want you to share a bit about that.
Oh, that's a long story.
Oh, dearie me. How long do we have?
Oh, my gosh, right? Well, if I was to put it in a short version, I was raised Jehovah's Witness. And then, as things would have it, I started to question things at that point. Once I saw that things were a little bit different than the box that I was given.
That box, right?
Yes. And then from there, I became Christian.
Okay.
Born again Christian. And then again, I still felt years later, as I developed my spirituality and my relationship with God, I felt again that there was more than the box that again I was given. And so that's
I like that you said the box I was given.
Yeah.
Because we're given these boxes.
Yeah.
And so we can develop from these boxes. Either we stay in them or we jump out and go into the next box. Lovely.
Yeah, we can go to the next box. I feel that it was all like a GPS, very necessary, because I didn't know where I was going.
Exactly.
But then at a certain point, you turn off the GPS, you turn off the car, you get out, and you go to your destination on your 2 feet.
That's right.
And that's where prayer, meditation, and just asking the divine direct questions. So I have a very rich spiritual life. A lot of people don't understand it because it's not boxed in any way. But I definitely have a regular discipline of prayer and meditation and journaling. And I go to church every now and then for the worship, which I enjoy. And I like to learn about everyone and everyone's faith, because there's truth everywhere.
Right, that's great. I like that, truth everywhere, because there is truth everywhere. We just have to find what truth fits with each one of us.
Yeah.
Because it really isn't like a one universal thing. It's an individual journey. And so the truth is going to look different. And so nobody should try to come into that person's truth and try to make them feel like they're not where they need to be.
Exactly.
But the other thing you said, journaling, which is very, very good thing to do. And when I do it, which I don't do it all the time, but when I do it, I can see that whatever I wrote actually came to fruition.
Yes.
And so it's a way to bring things into your life in a practical way without even knowing it.
It's extremely powerful.
It really is. And our words are powerful. Our thoughts are powerful. And so we don't realize how much all these things are very, very powerful.
Very powerful. I was looking at my old journal, the first one that I bought, because I was never someone to sit and write. I never had a diary because my mother will find it. So
my mother was like that also.
I wasn't trying.
Right.
So I found the first journal, and it said, and it was in 2010, and it said, well, I watched Oprah, and she said journaling has helped her, and that it's a powerful tool. I said, I don't know, but I said, word for word, I said, I guess we'll see. And then I didn't journal again for like another 6 months. Then I would just write notes at church, whatever resonated with me.
Lovely.
And then it grew from there to prayers and real thoughts, and then to, some really deep thoughts and, some crying spells and just inner cleansing, a lot of that.
Inner cleansing, yeah. So the journaling, for me, I remember doing some little notes here and there, and they actually came true.
Yeah.
I had said that I wanted to go live in London, so, and I actually did. I was born in London, but living here for a while, I said I wanted to live it. There was different aspects of what I had written down. And everything that I wrote down, I actually did. I'm like, oh, it was all there.
That's amazing, but I'm not surprised.
It's a very, very powerful tool
Yeah.
to bring about actualization. We
Yeah.
don't realize
Yeah.
how it, so how important it is. So, Gloria, I would like you to sort of, to the viewers who might be considering going into a business or changing their career, what are some things that you would tell them that you've done like it for yourself?
Mm-hmm.
Share what you did for yourself in your own business journey.
For anyone thinking about going into business, I would definitely say start with the 3 steps.
Mm-hmm.
Find a need, and maybe they already know what they want to do.
Sure.
A lot of people already know and have an inkling, which is
Mm-hmm.
why they're even thinking about it to begin with.
Right.
So if you have the inkling, you already know what you want to do, I would say take your time, pray on it,
Mm-hmm.
and figure out or ask questions, as many as you can.
Right.
What is the best way you could do this?
Ask yourself questions.
Ask yourself
What's
questions.
the best way?
What is the best way? And for everyone to give themselves the opportunity to do it right from the beginning.
Right.
Because we're all going to fail little bits,
Sure.
but
It's
the
good.
stronger the foundation, the better. For example, I always suggest people, first step, start a business plan. Even if you
It's very
just
important.
Google little aspects of a business plan and just start writing in a journal, in a notebook, little aspects of the business plan, that definitely helps you for growth. A lot of people, they skip that step and they go right into what they want to do. Oh, I want to do hair. So now you start calling people, hey, I do hair, come over. And they never put the time to put together that business plan. So there's no foundation. Now you don't know where your money's going, how you're going to grow, how you're going to market yourself, what your name is. Now you're just pulling things out of the hat. Well, I think I'll call myself Lisa's Hair. It's like, let's do a little better.
Right. And,
So I would
what
definitely
comes
say
from
that.
Lisa's hair?
What comes from Lisa's hair? Who do you what do people feel when they come into your presence? Who is your target market? Who are your best customers? All that
Right.
needs to be ironed out before you go out there and conquer the world. Because who are you conquering? You don't
Right.
know yet.
That's true.
So I would definitely say do it right. Lay yourself a foundation to begin with. And find little ways in life to develop discipline.
Right.
I have an interesting story on how I developed discipline. For Christmas, my husband bought me a red peak coat. I wanted this red peak coat. I was fascinated with red and I needed it. So he bought me the peak coat, but then a month later, some of the buttons started falling off. So I said, oh, great, now what do I do? Well, one button fell off. So I said, all right, well, I'll sew the button back on. And once I sewed it back on, the stitching was darker than the stitching that was on the other buttons. So I tried to really ignore that, but it kept bothering me. So I said, well, you know what, Gloria? All right, we'll do the next one, because then if there's 2 of them that are darker, then you won't notice the other 2 that are lighter. So then I did the next one, and I said, that looks horrible. You're really being lazy right now. So I watched the movie, and I finished the whole thing. And it was hard to do because you have to push through the peak coat, the needle.
Yeah,
so my
it's
fingers
hard,
hurt.
yeah.
But I said, you know what? I'm going to finish this. I said I was going to I started it, let me finish.
Right.
And we teach ourselves discipline through those little tiny things.
Right.
And that discipline is very necessary if you're going to grow a business into
Discipline.
something.
Right.
You need that discipline.
So that peacoat,
That peak coat taught me everything.
as something as simple as that just gets you
Yeah.
where you need to be. And so
Yeah.
everything plays its part in what this thing we call life. Everything plays its part, whether it be good or bad or indifferent, it all plays its part. And we just have to see the benefit in, whatever happens. Because, recently I went somewhere and something, they didn't turn up, whatever. And I just said, you know what? This is just telling me that I have to focus my energy in another way. I didn't get upset that the person didn't show, that the person didn't call me. I didn't call them. I said,
There's a
that's
flow.
all it means.
There's a flow.
And so then I got benefit from it. By being that way, I received benefit. So it's not to focus on, this one and that one. No, what is this telling me?
Exactly.
What is it showing me? It's
Yeah.
showing me that I need to do something different,
Differently.
focus my energy in another way. And that's all. And that's how life really should be, Gloria. It sounds simple.
It
But
is
it's
simple.
not.
We complicate it.
We certainly do.
Yeah.
We certainly do. And so we just need to just realize that and just go with the flow, right? Gloria, any last minute things that you would like to tell the viewers in regards to your success and things that they can do for themselves?
What they can do for themselves is definitely believe in themselves. That is probably the hardest part, to believe in yourself. Because to believe in yourself, now you have to create the chutzpah to move forward, the courage it takes to move forward. So definitely believing in yourself would be a big one. Putting yourself out there takes a lot of courage.
It does.
Takes a lot of courage. There's lots of times that I just have gone on shutdown because I just don't want to put myself out there. I'm like, no.
Sure.
You know, and sometimes you're a shy person, or, you know, it's just a lot to process sometimes. So developing that is very important. And a lot of times you have people in your life that believe in you more than you believe in yourself at that moment.
You know, you're glad you said that, because on Sunday I was at my, I want to call it my sacred space, where I go practice my Raj Yoga meditation. And someone said to me, "Oh, how are you doing in your studies?" I said, "I'm doing all right." And he says, "Well, you need to go on next, you know." He says, "I want to call you doctor." And I'm like, "Doctor?"
Nice.
So it's like, but like you said, you know, people have high expectations for you.
And they
then
see
you've got
something.
to think, yes.
We're
and
fogged.
So then, right. And
but
so then
people
you have
see
to
things.
think, is it, maybe I do need to be a doctor. So the thought is there, and I'd like to use the word freeze it. Someone I knew, she used to say, freeze it, because it's something that may pop back up later.
Yes.
So yeah.
I call it the library.
The library.
You put it in the library
In the
back
library,
here, and
right,
eventually
right.
life will bring it forward, and you got to pull out the book again.
Well, Gloria, we're actually coming down to the end of the show, and I'm so very glad that you came on.
I'm so grateful you
And just that
invited
the
me.
video
Thank you.
alone, and also what you've said in this interview, is going to benefit many. And I want to wish you the best of everything.
Thank you so
in
much.
life,
Same to
and
you.
more success. And you know, we're going to be talking to each other and staying in touch. And I just really glad that we were able to do this,
Me too.
and to meet and to just go with the flow. And
Thank you so much. I
That's
appreciate
okay.
it.
That's all
I
right,
appreciate
Gloria.
the invitation. Oh,
That's
you're so
okay.
warm.
And your
I'm
hands are
freezing.
cold.
I'm freezing.
Okay, so viewers, Gloria, you know how to reach her. We've given you her email address, her phone number, and her physical business address. And she's someone to really connect with, and she can help you get to the next step in life. And so, Gloria, I want to thank you.
Thank you.
And so to the viewers, your level of consciousness is the gateway to your future. Thank you.